Hi seniors, my name is Mark, and welcome to another video in our series called Crypto for Seniors. We are the definitive video series for understanding crypto on YouTube. Now, before I go on with any more information, I want to be crystal clear about who I am and why I'm doing this series on crypto. I am not a licensed financial advisor, and nothing contained in my videos should be construed as investment advice. My videos are for informational purposes only, and they're intended to educate you about crypto, how you can purchase and protect your crypto assets, and give you resources in one easy-to-find location. So let's get started. If you've been following crypto over the last several years, you've definitely heard the term blockchain. You may be wondering why this is so important and how using it as a decentralized system is better for the security and safety of your investments. Simply put, blockchain refers to record-keeping technology behind Bitcoin and other alt assets. Now, I call crypto an asset because in my first video, I broke down the difference of crypto as a currency around the world, but here in the U.S., it's considered an asset just like gold, silver, and real estate, and that brings taxable issues like capital gains. If you haven't seen our video, you can check it out. It's called Demystifying Crypto. Now, if you decide you want to jump into the world of crypto, or maybe you're already in crypto, then I strongly suggest you check out your personal financial situation with your tax professional. So, what exactly is a blockchain? Simply stated, a blockchain is a type of database or a collection of information stored electronically on one or several computer systems. In the case of crypto, the information is actually stored on many computers around the world, making it impossible to hack because you'd have to take down all the computers at the exact same time. Now, this database is designed to house significantly larger amounts of information that can be accessed and used by several users around the world at one time. They can easily filter and manipulate large amounts of data quickly and easily. The central key to blockchain is having the computer power and storage that span thousands or even hundreds of thousands of computers and Bitcoin mining equipment called nodes. They're all talking to each other and sharing information, and once this data is written, it can't be changed. Being decentralized allows for better transparency, and it ensures a stronger transactional data security. The data is literally chained together to make up the blockchain. Now, a typical bank, brokerage firm, or even a credit union uses centralized financial systems, meaning they store the financial data on their computers and they have the control of the information, along with it being controlled by the government by way of regulations. Say you purchase one Bitcoin, and now you own that asset. Well, that information is documented in a secure, encrypted manner and is pushed out throughout the blockchain network as a ledger transaction. Exactly like having the old-fashioned book and paper ledger, documenting the purchase of the Bitcoin. However, in this case, it pushes the ledger out to literally tens of thousands of these computers. As new data comes in, it's entered into a fresh block. Now, once this block is filled with data, it's chained onto the previous block, which makes up the data chain in a chronological order. This process takes around 10 minutes. Now, decentralized blockchains are irreversible. For Bitcoin, this means every transaction is permanently recorded and viewable to anyone with a very long key between 26 and 35 alphanumeric characters, so your private information would not be displayed or compromised. Let's talk a little bit about storage. One key difference between the typical database and the blockchain is the way the data is structured. A blockchain collects information together in groups, also known as blocks, that hold sets of information. These blocks have certain storage capabilities, and when they're filled, they're chained together with the previously filled block. All new information that follows is freshly added to the new block and compiled and attached to the previous block before it. A database structures its data into tables, where a blockchain, like its name applies, structures the data into chunks or blocks. This system also inherently makes an irreversible timeline of data when implemented in a decentralized nature. When a block is filled, it's set in stone. It becomes part of the timeline. Each block in the chain is given an exact timestamp when it's added to the chain. So, for purposes of understanding decentralization, it's important to look at the context of how it can be implemented by Bitcoin. Like a database, Bitcoin needs a collection of computers to store its blockchain. For Bitcoin, this blockchain is just a specific type of database that stores every transaction ever made. In Bitcoin's case, and unlike most other databases, these computers are not under one roof, and each computer or group of computers is operated by a unique individual or a group of individuals. Imagine a company or a bank owns a server and 25 to 50 individual computers, with databases holding all of the client's account information. Now, this company has full control of each of these computers and the information contained within them. Bitcoin, however, consists of tens of thousands of computers, but each computer group holds information or blockchain in different geographical locations around the world. These computers are all operated by separate individuals or small groups of people. In a blockchain, each node has a full record of data that's been stored on the blockchain since its inception. For Bitcoin, the data is an entire history of all Bitcoin transactions. If one node has an error on its data, it can use thousands of other nodes as a reference point to correct itself. This way, no one node within the network can alter information. Because of this, the history of the transaction in each block make up Bitcoin's blockchain. It is irreversible. If one user were to somehow tamper with the Bitcoin record, then all nodes would cross-reference each other and easily pinpoint the node with the incorrect information. This system helps to reestablish an exact and transparent order of events and information. For Bitcoin, this information is a list of transactions, but it's also possible for a blockchain to hold a variety of information like legal contracts, state identifications, or even company products inventory. In order to change how that system works, or the information is stored within it, a majority of decentralized network computing power would need to agree on all of the said changes. This ensures that whatever the changes are, they do occur in the best interest of the majority. So by now, we know Bitcoin uses blockchain to store its information where all transactions can be transparently viewed. This is typically done by having a personal node like a Bitcoin miner, or using blockchain explorers that will allow anybody to see the transactions as they occur in real time. Each node has its own copy of the blockchain, and it gets updated as fresh blocks are confirmed and added. This means if you want to, you could track every single transaction of Bitcoin purchases and wherever it goes. Now, what's really exciting is in the recent case around May of 2021, hackers took over a pipeline and they ransomed it for Bitcoin. Once the company paid the hackers, the FBI was able to track the transactions of the Bitcoin using the alphanumeric key and ultimately recovered some of the Bitcoin. Now, this is currently ongoing, but for security reasons, you'll never know who purchased or sold them because of the key. This key is a long string of numbers up to around 35 alphanumeric characters in length, and they protect the identity of the party. However, in this case, the funds in Bitcoin were assigned to a private key, and that information was given to the FBI, therefore allowing them to know exactly who purchased it and where it went as it was transferred to an exchange to be turned back to cash. What's important to understand is that without the pipeline giving the exact key to the hackers and the FBI, that Bitcoin transaction would have been lost forever, and the hackers would have been able to transfer it back to cash. So, is this blockchain secure? In the past, exchanges have been hacked, and those who held Bitcoin or altcoins on the exchange have lost everything. This is why in upcoming videos, I'm going to talk specifically about the different types of electronic wallets that are available, why the hacker may be entirely anonymous. Bitcoins that they stole are completely traceable. If the Bitcoins that were stolen in some of these hacks were moved or spent, it would be known just like the case of the pipeline. Let's talk a little bit about smart contracts. A smart contract is simply a computer code that can be built into the blockchain to facilitate, verify, or negotiate a contract agreement. Smart contracts operate under a set of conditions that the users agree to. When those conditions are met, the terms of the agreement are automatically carried out. Say, for example, a potential renter wants to lease an apartment using a smart contract. Well, the landlord would agree to give the tenant the door passcode to the apartment as soon as the tenant pays the security deposit. Both the tenant and the landlord would send their respective portions of the deal to the smart contract. The landlord agrees to give the tenant the door code to the apartment as soon as the tenant pays the security deposit. Both the tenant and the landlord would send their respective portions of the deal to the smart contract, which it would hold on to and automatically exchange the door code for the security deposit on the date the lease begins. Now, if the landlord doesn't follow through, the smart contract refunds the security deposit automatically without human involvement. This would eliminate fees and processes typically associated with the use of a notary, a third-party mediator, or even attorneys. Finally, let's talk a little bit about advantages and disadvantages of using blockchain. For blockchain's potential as a decentralized form of record keeping, it's almost limitless. From greater use in privacy and heightened security to lowering the processing fees and fewer errors, the blockchain technology may very well see applications beyond these outlined above. But there are some disadvantages. Some of the pros would be to improve the accuracy by removing human involvement in verification. Decentralization makes it harder to tamper with the transactions because they're secure, private, and efficient. The technology is transparent. It provides a banking alternative and ways to secure personal information for citizens of other countries with unstable or underdeveloped governments. Now, some cons associated to blockchain would be significant technology costs associated with mining Bitcoin and the power consumption that may have environmental concerns. Lower transaction per second, a history of illicit activities, which is a very, very small percentage. One major positive using blockchain is banking for the unbankable. Perhaps the most profound facet of blockchain and Bitcoin is the ability for anyone, regardless of ethnicity, gender, or cultural background, to use it. According to the World Bank, there's over 2.5 billion adults that don't have any bank accounts or means of storing their money or wealth. Nearly all of these individuals live in developing countries where the economy is in shambles or the government is corrupt, and people just don't trust the traditional banking systems that are controlled by the government. These people depend on cash, and now they can use crypto as currency. Remember, not here in the U.S. because crypto is an asset. These people often earn very little money, and it's paid in physical cash to them. They need to store this physical cash in their homes, leaving it subject to robbery and unnecessary violence. Keys to a Bitcoin wallet can be stored on a piece of paper, a cheap cell phone, or even memorized if necessary. So for most people, it's likely that these options are more easily hidden than a small pile of cash under a mattress. Looking to the future, coders are working with software companies to create blockchains of the future that are more robust, like legal contracts, property, or wealth items, or even to store medical records. The amount of possibilities are endless with this new technology. Now, some of the real challenges with blockchain could potentially be political and regulatory. You have to count on the tens of thousands of hours of software programming for both front and back end to require to integrate blockchain into current business networks. Here are some of the challenges standing in the way of spreading blockchain adoption. Technology cost. The technology around blockchain is so-called proof of work. Systems that Bitcoin uses to validate transactions uses a massive amount of computing power, as well as cost of producing the electricity. This has caused some around the world to shut down their mining operations. Speed and efficiency. Bitcoin's proof-of-work systems takes about 10 minutes to add a new block to the blockchain. At a rate, the blockchain network can only manage about 7 transactions per second. Although cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum perform better than Bitcoin, but they're still limited by the blockchain. Workarounds to this issue have been in development for years, and there's currently blockchains that are boasting over 30,000 transactions per second. Illegal activity. Confidentially on the blockchain network protects users from hacks and preserves privacy. It allows for illegal trading and activity on the blockchain network. Most cited examples of blockchain being used for illicit transactions is probably Silk Road. That's located on the dark web, a drug marketplace operating from about 2011 towards the end of October 2013, when the FBI stepped in to shut it down. And finally, regulations. Many in the crypto space have expressed concerns about government regulation over crypto. While it's increasingly difficult and near impossible to end something like Bitcoin as a decentralized network as it grows, the governments could theoretically make it illegal to own cryptocurrencies or participate in these networks. Well, that's it. That's blockchain technology. A wonderful way for individuals or business to enter into smart contracts, or a way for people around the world to transfer money for goods and services. Well, thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe, turn on the notification, and like the video. And I'll see you in the next video.